Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back to Take Time for Torah. I'm so glad that you've joined us. You know, I was asked as a kid when I worked at 7-Eleven, why were there locks on the doors? And the answer, of course, is sometimes 7-Eleven stores, like Wawa, have to close for one reason or another. You know, the Wawas recently in our area closed for some renovations. So from a certain amount of time to a certain amount of time, they closed. They need to lock the doors. And I bring this question up with Parshat Shalach as we talk about the story of the 12 spies. They went into Eretz Yisrael. They went out to scope out the land, a reconnaissance mission, and 10 of them returned with these negative reports of the giants and how it would be impossible for us to do, while Joshua and Caleb returned with reports of, yes, there are giants, wonderful fruit, wonderful agriculture, but if we believe in God, we will be able to succeed. And the Israelites sent up a cry to God, as the verses in the beginning of chapter 14 says. The whole community broke out into loud cries, and the people wept that night. All the Israelites railed against Moses and Aaron. If only we had died in the land of Egypt, the whole community shouted at them. Or if only we had died in the wilderness. Why is the Lord taking us to that land to fall by the sword? And it goes on like that. There is this sense of we are inadequate to the task. We won't be able to do it. And so the question can be asked, is this real or is this imagined? Is this something that the Israelites can do something about, or is this something that they're just kvetching and complaining? Different rabbis have different takes. Rabbi Simcha Bunim of Peshicha, a Hasidic text, he has the following take on the text, and the people wept that night. He says that our sages taught in Baba Metzia 59 that state that the gates of tears are never locked. One can therefore ask the question, if the gates are never locked, what purpose do they serve? The answer is they serve to keep out the tears of the fools who weep without having reason to cry. Rabbi Simcha Bunim knew that there are times that it's legitimate, that there is people who need help, and they need the comfort that can be brought about by entering into the gate of tears, knowing that somebody is there to help them, and to be with them, and to comfort them, and to find a way through the challenges that they have. But Rabbi Simcha Bunim also knew that sometimes people kvetch. They have these crocodile tears. Sometimes they have these tears that are just not real, and they are fools. I mean, I certainly encounter this with children. You know, sometimes children, especially babies, they know how to play to an audience. Sometimes they fall down, they get hurt, and they'll look around first before bursting into tears. If there's nobody there, they'll just get up and go on. Or sometimes they'll look around and see that there's an audience or will react, and then they'll start crying. There's this sense of need that they need for comfort. But sometimes that behavior carries over into adults. And sometimes there's the kvetch and the complain that we don't need to have. But this brings me also to the second text. And the second text from our Eitz Chaim Chumash. It says, if only we had died. The comment on the second verse that I read. You know, sometimes we get a sense of helplessness, a sense that we're inadequate, a sense that we have an inability to deal with the problems that face us in life. And in a sense, sometimes it leads us to give up on life, or want to give up on life. I know I have encountered incredible problems sometimes where I've just said, you know what, that's it, I'm done, I'm going away. But in another sense, when we have a sense of hope, the possibility of a brighter future, a belief that God can help us to do what we need to do, even though it's hard to do by ourselves, knowing that God is with us, knowing that there's a community with us, can help us overcome the sense of inadequacy or the sense of helplessness that we have. You know, last week I had a chance to hike on the Appalachian Trail, and during that time I had hurt my ankle. My ankle was really painful. And there were times when I wondered, would I be helpless? Would I be stuck? But then I found that as I continued on, and even though it was very painful, I was able to reach out and call to get the shuttle that would come pick me up. But even more so than that, I encountered someone who took me in their pickup truck, even though they had no idea who I was. And they turned around and they took me to the place that I was meeting my shuttle. That in of itself gave me hope for myself and gave me hope for the future. It meant that I wasn't alone. It meant that I had the ability to rely on a community or to rely on others to help me in my time of need. That's what we have to do. So in this coming week, figure out for yourself, what is it that you can be relied upon to do? What is it that you feel helpless about? And if you were to reach out to someone else, whether it to be God or to someone in the community, would you find the ability to move forward and to make it to achieve the goals that are stated? The Israelite spies lacked confidence in themselves. When the Israelites gained confidence, they were easily able to take over the land and to make the promised land their own. Let us hope that this week to come we'll make our promised land our home. Shabbat Shalom. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Shabbat Shalom.